and my dear police officers, please don't take Professor Singh very seriously, because beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Very seldom will you find such accolades coming for a police officer. And giving flowers, normally we are accustomed to receiving brickbats, and very seldom in life are we given bouquets, and when we do get bouquets and laced with such wonderful words, dripping with honey, one would see either I have come to the wrong place or somebody has died wrong. But I know what I am, sir, but your magnanimity, your choice of words has overwhelmed me. I have come before you. I am 64 years of age. I don't have to go anywhere in life now. Whatever I could have got in life, I have got. I could have even got gallantry medal posthumously, but if I have not got gallantry medal posthumously, it is because perhaps of good wishes of people like you, his father, who is not only the captain of industry, but a highly spiritual person. Slight digression, I have read the commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita by Sant Gyaneshwar, by Rajneesh, by Dr. Radhakrishnan, but when you see his mother giving the exposition on the Bhagavad Gita, and I would strongly recommend, if it is possible, even for 10 minutes, it is so very relevant for you and me. You will see, because that wisdom and that fountain of knowledge is not academic, it is not bookish, it has come from the book of life, and therefore it will touch your heart. And for police officers, Shruti Mangna, asking for leave is asking permission to murder him. Asking for leave is like asking permission to murder. If you were to ask for leave, Shruti, leave your own wedding, I think 1 day is enough. To come for this interaction, please make the most of it. Your routine of working 48 hours in a day over a period of time does magic to your personality and to your thinking process. You do not realize it. I did not realize it. It is only when it is switched off that you realize the rhythm is broken, that where all the creativity has gone. All of us are not born psychopaths. All of our parents wanted to join the coveted service, public service, to be of service to you, poor people of this nation and to the nation. Every day we resolve we will not lose our cool. Every day we resolve that we will be polite. 10 to 11, Satyug. 11 to 12, Treta. 1 to 3, Dwapar. And 5 o'clock, अगर किसी को मरना होता तो आ जाए उसके बाद. If he comes, unless he has suicidal tendencies, nobody is going to come to us after 5 o'clock, because he knows what's going to happen to him. This happens to us every day. Doubly dying shall go down to the wild dust from whence he sprung, unwept, unsung and unhonored. This is the destiny of most of us. Without you and me, without this department, the system and the nation will not function. But it comes to gratitude. It is very seldom that you have people like Professor Singh, Professor Shri, who acknowledge your role in society building. Otherwise it is like this, जब चमन को थी जरूरत तब खून दिया हमने, और जब बाहर आई तो चमन ने पूछा तेरी जरूरत क्या? This is the destiny of all of us, and speaks in two lives. But at the same time, the time has come for you and me to introspect. Even if there is a wrong perception, you and I know that we need no harm. We are incapable of harming anyone. हम पिट जाएंगे, पीट नहीं सकते हैं, ये हमारी philosophy है. Then why the reputation? When I joined service, we did not have any courses. जब बहुत पढ़ लिया करो लगा करो. And I am coming here, whether I am able to give you anything or not, but I will take lot of memories, lot of your experience, lot of your positive energy. Aristotle said, what is the secret of being young? The secret of being young is to be with young people. When you live with young people, you have the mindset of a youngster. By being with you, I will take your positive energy. Otherwise, if I were to sit with my age people, सुबह होती है, शाम होती है, जिंदगी यूं ही तमाम होती है. I am awaiting my call from the Almighty. So things like these start cropping up. So my advice to you would be make the most of this interaction. I never had this. बस एक ही लाइन कहते थे. Now you are a police officer, and a good police officer is one who is a half butcher and half human. That is all that you need. कुछ आप जानने की जरूरत नहीं. And that is why being a half butcher has brought us here. Whenever there is a law and order situation, there are crowds of 100 women, 500 students, 1,000 laborers. Instead of using the use of force that is designated for which we are trained, what do? We apply force that is disproportionate. अब पब्लिकली कहते हैं बलवाइयों भाग जाओ वरना तुम्हारे ऊपर गोली चलाएगी, टीयर गैस चला जाएगा. भाग जाओ वरना जनरल डायर को भूल जाओ. You compare yourself with जनरल डायर. जनरल डायर ये भी नहीं चली, और जो जनरल डायर को एमुलेट करे उनकी. At the end of the day, when you reach my age, Mr. Barjit Singh, if there is a disproportionate use of force which I have done once in a while, the memories of those disproportionate use of force will haunt you. Please don't get that far. My subject that has been allotted to me by Professor Singh is handling women, weaker sections, minorities and children. A very sensitive topic. A very sensitive topic. It is not only that the police department, my advice to you would be, again, I would try to speak from my experience in the book of life. This presentation will be handed over to you as it is. Don't make notes. Those who wish to sleep can go off to sleep also, because I know sleep deprivation is an eternal epidemic, has assumed epidemic proportions in the police department. For a person who is sleeping 4 hours a day, if he dozes off in these surroundings, so be it. This room can double up as the mother's lap. So those who wish to take a nap can go ahead. Ultimately, a relaxed police officer is a better police officer. So the entire society has to chip in, develop, has to chip in, contribute. It is not the police alone. These are societal problems, and therefore the police alone cannot identify, react, and in fact chip in a manner, contribute in a manner that will have a lasting impact. Therefore, societies, NGOs, judiciary, police, and all segments of society in prosecution will have to chip in. Proactive policing. What we learnt was relevant. Maybe for 150 years, we did not change our laws, we did not change our equipment, we did not change our arms and ammunition and the method. For 150 years, every police station in India had a crime kit box and the indigenous lie detector. Those who are in the northern state would understand what the indigenous lie detector is at every police station. चमड़े का सोटा और in a brazen manner लिखा भी रहता है उसके ऊपर lie detector. If we are still subscribing to that system of lie detector and crime kit box, then we are no longer in business. Because we have not grown with time, we have not addressed technology, we have not addressed human rights issues. The 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act has amended the CRPC, the Indian Penal Code, and the Evidence Act. That should be our Bible for times to come, but in spite of the Nirbhaya case, in spite of so many cases happening everywhere, what to talk of our investigators, even senior police officers are oblivious of the latest amendments in these. We are not aware of POSCO, we are not aware of Domestic Violence Act. We should please take pains now to understand the ramifications of the Visakha guidelines. We should also understand the committee for gender issues to be established in every office. Every gender crime will have to be starting from registration right up to prosecution will be handled only by lady police officers and not by men. It's only the service of warrants and summons that can be interested and will be interested in male police officers. Otherwise, all the activities will be and shall be completed by women. These take place. Case after case of UP, as you would have seen in Badaयूं, as you have seen in Mohanlalganj, as you have seen at Kanpur, mistake after mistake. Mistake after mistake. And horrendous mistakes like that. It is a very small one-page document which I will give you for your consumption. Only 18 sections are pertinent in all the 3 amendments, which have to be your and my Bible. Knowledge is instant global advantage. Please repeat after me. Knowledge is instant global advantage.
Knowledge is global advantage.
And therefore, this knowledge of these 14 amendments is an imperative which we must know by rote. Then, as a DGP, sir, a lady came and said, I want to speak to you on a very personal matter. Of course, I called my PA, Mrs. Asha Verma. Please sit down. Because I want to speak to you. Of course, we are alone. Alone meaning just you and me. That is legally not possible. Because मेरे साथ बड़ा अन्याय हो रहा है. उनका इसका मतलब दूर भी है. तो आपके साथ अन्याय हो या मेरे साथ अन्याय? अभी मैं ऐसा हरिश्चंद्र नहीं बना हूं कि अपनी हड्डी काट के मैं आपके साथ अन्याय. Law enjoins that I cannot see a lady alone. Law enjoins that. And I cannot have a vision like that. The only thing exception is that I can leave the room, you can speak to Mrs. Verma. And if you want to speak to me, there is no way. My age at that point of time was 57 years. तो बच्चा नहीं था. Youngsters, DIG साहब घर जा रहे हैं और आ रहे हैं. We were trained, and I'm sure that when you were trained, we were told to keep a respectable distance from ladies, not in a derogatory sense, but in a sense that what we have been brought up with the values कि आपकी बेटी और बहन भी जब आप बड़े हो जाते हैं तो राखी बांधने के अलावा स्पर्श नहीं होता. Sister, a daughter भी या daughter-in-law भी अगर पैर छूती है तो दूर से, no contact, zero contact relationship. और किसी के घर जाने का तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं. किसी लेडी के घर जाने का मतलब ही नहीं. एक जज साहब कहते मुझे फांसी दे देना. फांसी तो आपको मिल ही जानी चाहिए. मतलब वो तो जब जज आज मुझे लिखा लीजिए. आपने इतनी प्रॉक्सिमिटी कैसे बनाई? आपके इंटेंशन गलत थे. आपकी लाट टपक रही थी. एक शब्द है हिंदी में लोचन, और लोचन का डेराइवेटिव है एक हिंदी में एब्यूजिव आशिक मिजाज लोगों के लिए लुच्चा, जो कि आंख से ही पूरी सर्जरी कर दे लोचन से, उसको हम कहते हैं लुच्चा. जज साहब को ये सोच लेना चाहिए था कि इतनी प्रॉक्सिमिटी आपको किसने ज्यादा दे दी. आपके लिए अब तो पुलिस में 30% रिजर्वेशन लेडीज के लिए है. क्या आपके लिए जरूरी है कि एक रेस्पेक्टेबल डिस्टेंस आप ना रखें? They are all our daughters. That every lady, the youngest among you, चाहे मान लीजिए आप हैं, राजीव जी, आपसे सीनियर भी लेडी जूनियर कलीग्स होंगी आपके, but they are all your daughters. Irrespective of age, जो सेंटिमेंट और जो मोरालिटी है, वो जब सिग्नल ये होता है कि when you are a father figure, then you can say you will not do this. Proactive policing. What is proactive policing? There are 3 P's. Progressive, performance, and to be very, very sensitive to what the genders. It is not that I am satisfied with the crime it was. I should be aware and sensitivity to us. हमारे जब कभी रेप विक्टिम आता तो पहला रेप तो वो हुआ जो एक्चुअल हुआ. दूसरा रेप तब हुआ जब हमने पूछताछ पुरुषों ने चटकारे लगा करके people start asking lewd questions, irresponsible questions, insensitive questions. And in the absence of women police officers, there have been 18 cases of rape in police custody to survivors in UP alone. What has happened to us? Not a single case of rape in police custody in the whole of the British age till 1947. Not a single case of rape in police custody. Not a single case of fake encounter. And today the number of fake encounters, tomorrow you are going to have Mr. Singh. Please ask him the number of fake encounters inquiries that the Human Rights Commission is inquiring into. The number of custodial rapes. इतना जुल्म तो अंग्रेजों ने हमारे ऊपर नहीं किया जितना हम अपने आप पे कर रहे हैं. It is because of the mindset. We will go into that. Why it happens to us. Every district and every state has cells, but cells have to give a meaningful and a mature guidance. We have to have a roadmap. We have to have a vision, and in that vision, we give a priority. What is relevant for Noida will not be relevant for Lucknow. What is relevant for Lucknow will not be relevant for Bhubaneswar, and what is relevant for Bhubaneswar will not be relevant for the basic parameters of any cell would be mediation, counseling, legal aid. I got a very good word from Madam Kiran Bedi, and I have not repeated it. इसको कहना चाहिए कंठस्थ नहीं, सर हृदयस्थ करना चाहिए. For me, a rape survivor, for me, the victim is God. For me, the rape survivor is God. Because the trauma that she has gone through. And my biggest reward, as sir has said, have been gallantry medals. They have been rewards, and God has been very kind. But my biggest reward when a rape survivor, after conviction, said, she addressed me as Papa. That means I must have done something right to have that level of bonding that the survivor addressed me as Papa. The general mindset of the police is to trivialize gender issues, to be insensitive to gender issues. It is a very welcome change that ladies are now coming into the police and in fact making a name for themselves. The best police officer, anyone, if you were to say, Madam Kiran Bedi, Madam Kanchan Chaudhary, and there are any number of them. Ladies are doing a great job in the police department in bringing about sensitivity, large-heartedness, meaningful investigations, lesser corruption. So see how police paradigm has changed. When I joined the service in 1974, I was already working as a lecturer at Allahabad University, and I had the offer of joining multinational university. In my time, sir, what job you picked up and where you got married was not your prerogative. It was the prerogative of your parents. ये नहीं कि जहाँ मन में नौकरी कर ले, जहाँ मन में शादी कर ले, ये बहुत nonsense. You will get married when you are asked to get married, and you take a cut. You are cut for the police. You are 100 kilos. You can do 5 push-ups. You can drink 5 liters of milk. Therefore, you just cut for the police. Little realizing that you have the engine of a two-wheeler, but you have been fitted into a Boeing 707. The training part, जैसे हमारी आपकी training होती है, National Police Academy or any training institution, by the book and by the law. You reach the district, and your instructions to Inspector Kotwali, I will not take the full name, Inspector Rathila साहब को जरा policing सिखा दो. और उनका पहला सबक जो सीख के आए हो हैदराबाद में भूल जाओ जरा. जो ट्रेनिंग में पढ़ के आए हो भूल जाओ जरा. और शाम को टांग कैसे तोड़ी जाती है सिखलाया जाएगा. हमने कहा मैंने किसी को थप्पड़ नहीं मारा, टांग तोड़ा, प्लीज फॉरगिव मी मैन. अरे आप पुलिस में हैं, यहाँ पे वो मुर्गी पालन अधिकारी हैं, मत गए ये गन्ना विकास अधिकारी है. You are not a district livestock officer or a cane supervisor. You have joined the Indian Police Service. Because I have joined India, but not to do all this. And I am incapable of doing all this. Please don't try to teach me. Rathi called up the SSP, the ASP said that I would rather put in my papers than learn all this. I don't do all that. The SSP called me, are you sure you want to continue in the police? Or you want to go back to research and academics? No, sir, I want to be in the police, but only as per the statutes and as per the law. I don't want to do anything that is extra constitutional, anything that is brazenly illegal and that is brazenly insult. I will end the story here, but at the same time, we all have this negative impact that influences once in a while with the course of the service. Please do not allow that to anything that we or your experience. And I have designed many helplines, Mahila helplines, so many helplines. Like every machine, every weapon, every philosophy, the man behind the machine is more important than the machine itself. The philosophy of the man operating that machine is even more important, and the mindset of the man is more important. I can design that. But if he is negative, reactive, casual, cavalier to the calls coming to you, it defeats the purpose. But say, there are ladies manning Mahila helplines. Is it? Namaskar, Mahila helpline Lucknow. बात शुरू कर बेटे, मैं तुम्हारी बहन की तरह हूँ, माँ की तरह, अपनी बात बताओ। यहाँ से कोई बात नहीं जाएगी, हमें कोई तुम्हारा नाम नहीं चाहिए। और अगर तुम समझते, if you feel that in the next 12 hours I am capable of giving you any relief, come back to me. If not, please presume that you have wasted your time and don't come back. And lo and behold, the people operating the helpline were given special incentive, given special training, and it was in fact a game changer of you people receiving that. And the satisfaction level that you have stopped thief teasing, that you have stopped in fact extortion, you have stopped in fact the predators from holding on to ladies at the workplaces. I have talked about functioning. The family counseling centers. We have the Domestic Violence Act. We will discuss certain provisions. The Domestic Violence Act is a 2005 statute. It has been brought about to ensure that domesticity continues to be as sacred as sacrosanct. We have, in 37 years of my careers in the police, I would on an average get 2 or 3 cases of wife bashing, children bashing, and brutal ways of the head of the family doing that. But today when I go to talk shows and televisions, there are wise people who say, "Is why the wife alone? What about the husbands who get bashed up?" You are all professional police officers. You may have got isolated and very minor cases of husbands being bashed up. In my entire career of 37 years, I would get cases of wife beating almost 2 or 3 every day. But the case of husband bashing, guess how many I have got in my career?
Nothing.
One. Just one. Just one. And that was a tragic case, but that was an exception. And a Commissioner of Income Tax comes to me at 6:30 in the morning. So I thought probably he is wanting to go for some raid. That is why he has come unannounced at 6:30 in the morning. So I just was in the gym, came out and said, "Sir, क्या बात है?" जो उनकी शक्ल देखी, जैसे मजनू की शक्ल अगर आपने कभी देखी हो, बाल फैले हुए, कुछ नुचे हुए, कुछ बाल हाथ में, कुर्ता फटा हुआ, पैजामा फटा हुआ. Sir, what happened? I thought you had come to organize some secret raid for income tax defaulters or something. He started crying as if he went hysterical. I was like, he was 10 years my senior also. Because sir, I was nominated to go to USA for a course. And the moment I told my wife that I am going for a course in Italy, I am also coming on the world. Going to USA is an expensive job. So she flared up, she took the passport, $500, and thought $5 is a lot of money 15 years ago. The visa and my papers, and she tore everything, put it in the flesh and threw everything, the dollars and the passport and the visa, everything into the flesh. And then she bashed me also. Now I want you to register a case against my wife. Yes, what should I have done? Should I have registered it? It was legally required that a level of injuries on this person warranted a registration of a case. But do you think registration of the case would have solved the problem or created a further dimension? Although the legal requirement was the case should have been registered, but I did not register it. In fact, I counseled both of them. Better sense prevailed. The loss of the $500 was there, but the loss of prestige and dignity of the individual in the office was restored, and it did go to USA. Helpline, we have talked of helpline. It is desirable, and all of you have the capacity to be a one-man army. All of you. I have never felt helpless place in my life, and I may take the help of a telephone only during the daytime. But 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I receive all the calls myself. I used to even as a DGP. Trust me, nobody will call you unless he is in dire necessity. You would be receiving only about 2 or 3 calls every third day. But those 3 calls would make you and your personality and your reputation as nothing else would. They will give you self-esteem, as they say, a 3 a.m. friend. They have a talk show on TV that a person acted as if he has met with an accident and he called 20 of his friends at 3 a.m. Only one turned down. He said, you are a 3 a.m. friend. That even if I call you at 3 a.m., you are available and you are there by my side. Otherwise, there is lip service, and who would know better than police officers like us, who is a fair weather friend and who is an absentee friend by default. लोग गलत करना राजी कि जहां आपका पसीना गिरेगा, मेरा खून गिरेगा, और जहां पर आपके ऊपर गोली चलेगी मैं चट्टान की तरह खड़ा हो जाऊंगा। अब जब वाकई गोली चलती है तो अमर सिंह राठौर इधर भाग गए, पृथ्वीराज चौहान उधर भाग गए। अब आप हनुमान चालीसा पढ़ लो। If you don't have a weapon, then you go to the happier world. All of us police officers have gone through such situations in life. Therefore, we realize the value of the fact a friend indeed is a friend indeed. Rape crisis intervention, this is the Western concept in which the true counseling, the first rape is the actual horrific crime. The second rape is the lodging of the FIR. The third rape is the investigation. The fourth rape is the trial. And the fifth rape is a lifelong scar and trauma. Therefore, the psychiatric and the psychological treatment that the victim and the family will have to be given after this unfortunate incident is what is the purpose of the rape crisis center. We have paid police officers and the cult of masculinity in the police. बेटा माफ कीजिएगा, पूरा गाली का, लेकिन मैं आपको हिस्ट्री की बात बता रहा हूं। हमारे यहाँ जब किसी को गाली देना, जैसे कोई बहुत हीरा ढाला कोई अफसर है, आप लगता है महिला बटालियन के कमांडेंट होने वाले, यू आर फिट टू बिकम द कमांडेंट ऑफ अ महिला बटालियन। वेरी लिटिल रियलाइजिंग in 25 years the best police officers will be ladies, the cream of the police will be ladies, because the law has changed. हम जब आए थे सर, मैं बता रहे थे उसको, या 500 push-ups लगाते हैं, you do 500 push-ups, you drink 5 liters of it, therefore you are an ideal police officer. Those were the days. मुझे जीने दो, चंबल की कसम, बैंडेड क्वीन। तो उस वक्त था कि हाँ विक्रम सिंह जब जाएंगे तो सरिया मोड़ भी देंगे, that would do, and then straighten it up. Today with the same quality processing, I would be lucky if I become a constable officer. Today the best police officers are boys and girls more in the STF, in the ATS, who are able to use the laptop, who can hack and crack, who can generate passwords, who can in fact crack passwords, who can crack firewalls, who are experts of electronic surveillance, and the best not only in UP, in India, but in the world. We have lady IPS officers working in STF and ATS. You give them a call detail, in minutes they will tell you which is the most dialed number, which is the most called number, what is the cell ID, and what is the nearest geographical location. Give them a weapon, and they will analyze it in 5 hours, what the ballistic experts will not be able to do in 5 minutes. Anju Gupta, have you heard of Anju Gupta? UP cadre. She is presently with the UN and an expert on drugs and narcotics. The male police personnel, in fact, are a part of the larger problem, the triviality. When the day victim comes, to trivialize the issue, हल्के में बात करना, मजाक करना, to be insensitive. I need not go into the detail, but you would understand what I am hinting at. The insensitive handling of the eavesdropping. By eavesdropping अगर ना हो, तो तुम्हें बुरा लगेगा, तुम भी जो है तनाव प्रश्न में आ जाओ। SSP कानपुर से कि तुम्हारी उम्र 45 साल है, तुम्हें कौन ट्रीट करेगा? ये हवाई बात, ये बेबुनियाद बात, इलीगल और इमोरल बात। और किसी, it is unbecoming of any person to speak in this disjointed and disoriented, and strongest possible action should be taken. There's a police officer in Kanpur. I am happy at my recommendation he will place the suspension. The Jyoti murder case, the accused, he kisses the accused, the forehead, that you are like my younger brother, and I will see to it that you have done no harm. ये वो लोग हैं जिन्होंने अपने माँ बाप के पैर नहीं छूए. They would not have touched the feet of their parents. They would not have touched the feet of the gurus. But yes, वफादारी का आलम तो देखें कि एक क्रिमिनल को वो भी मर्डर को गले लगा करके he's kissing the forehead. In olden times, he would have not only been placed with the suspension, and I think Article 300, he should be dismissed from service, because your priorities in life and priorities in policing are that you are standing right by the side of an accused, irrespective of the fact that he may be guilty or not guilty, but standing by the side, and this public display of affection is unbecoming of a police officer. ये भी गलत है, और वो भी गलत है. ISSP कानपुर, the governor called me up in the president's room. It is epidemic problem of eve teasing. Eve teasing is a social problem. और ये भी कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि आप ये देखें कि यंगस्टर्स करते हैं. हमारी एज के भी eve teasers होते हैं, हमसे बड़े भी eve teasers होते हैं. आसाराम बापू, जस्टिस गांगुली, तरुण तेजपाल और मौजूदा इस लॉर्डशिप ने उन्होंने हमको फांसी दे दी. तो फांसी तो मिलनी चाहिए आपको. आपने उतना डिस्टेंस नहीं रखा जितना कि रखना चाहिए था. हमारे राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी, ठीक है, राष्ट्रपिता बड़े पूज्य थे. उनकी ऑटोबायोग्राफी का एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल. When he would get up from the prayers, he would catch hold of a girl's shoulder, and then there was a girl like his daughter or granddaughter maybe. मुराद said कि बापू, आपको देश राष्ट्रपिता कहता है, या आपको सिर्फ एक बच्ची का कंधा मिला, सारे हमारे कंधे से टूट गए हैं क्या? Even the father of the nation, like Mahatma Gandhi, at his age was checked by Morarji Desai. It is unbecoming of you to touch the shoulder of a young girl. If you need the support, I am there, and the thousands and millions are there to give you that support. Please take pains not to touch a girl. I was telling you when I was SSP Kanpur, where there is a will, there is a way. I have never felt helpless in my life. I have never felt helpless in my life. But can you stop eve teasing? Of course I can stop eve teasing. Now that you have asked me, I will certainly do it. Who is an eve teaser? How do you profile an eve teaser? Kanpur had 28 girls' colleges at that point of time. I called a meeting of 200 sub-inspectors, inspectors and NGOs. If there is a particular jantu, animal by the name of an eve teaser, how would you identify an eve teaser? You can't, you don't have that profile. I don't have that profile, I guess. You don't. The profile of an eve teaser is, he wears a particular brand of clothes. Say for example, tight jeans, black t-shirt or a tomato colored t-shirt. He has an earring in one ear. He has surma in his eyes. He has an obnoxious label on his t-shirt, Avara hu, something akin to that. He has no business to be at a girl's college because his sister is not there, his mother is not teaching there, and his daughter is not studying there. But you will find him very outside a girl's college. Next to a palm shop, he will be eternally chewing palm or smoking, looking at the mirror and combing his hair. Get hold, 99% he's a eve teaser. And lo and behold, the first day, we had a hall of almost 400 eve teasers. About 100 were not because they had legitimate reasons, although they were overdressed. But the other 300 were the hardcore eve teasers. But the documentation, महिला से छेड़खानी करने वालों का register, that is blank. For 10 years, no entries. Village crime notebook, no entries. Active list, no entries. Register per Pasha, no entries. A free rein given to these hoodlums. In today's times, you're traveling in metro, you're traveling in public transport. Agreed that these film songs are passed by the censors. But what I choose to hear and what I choose not to hear is my problem. In my university, sir, all the public transport that we have hired or we have owned, you can only play instrumental music in public. No verbal music is allowed whether English or Hindi, because today's times, what used to be pornographic in my youth time is now passed as regular music in today's times. I will not have it. I will just not have that. There is zero tolerance in my university to drugs, to alcohol, to pan masala, to holding hands. We have students from 18 countries. सब हमारे यहाँ फ्रेशर्स पार्टी में जरूर कीजिए, हम भाई बुला देंगे, तो वो वाली नहीं चाहिए, तो कैसी चाहिए भाई, समझ में आए, कैसी चाहिए पार्टी, उनका सब बाहर लगाएंगे, अब हमारी डेड बॉडी, जब तुम सुन लेना कि डॉक्टर विक्रम सिंह की मौत हो गई है, तो कोई रसिया इसी ले आना, वो तुम्हारा मान मेरे जीते जी यहाँ इस कैंपस में बार बार लगने वाला है। ये जज साहब जो हाईकोर्ट वाले हैं दावत कर रहे हैं, ऐसी ही दावत की होगी जहां बार लगा, पानी कम शराब ज्यादा, नाच ऐसे रसिया किसी के को हमारे यूपी कहते रसिया किसी के जा सकते। There are places and items which you and I supposed to go. सैनिक सम्मेलन होगा जरूर जाएंगे, सफाई कर्मी के बेटे का बर्थडे होगा जरूर जाएंगे, सिपाही के बेटे का एंगेजमेंट होगा जरूर जाएंगे। नाच गाने में हम नहीं जाते, हमारे बाप भी नहीं जाते। तालू की पार्टी में ना मेरे बाप जाते थे ना मैं जाता, और मुझसे को कहता नहीं था। Nobody has ever asked me सब कॉकटेल हो रहा है या डांस पार्टी है, ड्रीम गर्ल्स ऑफ इंडिया आई है, कभी नेवर। तो साहब हमारे पास आए तो तुम्हारे पास जाके तुम्हारे अंदर वो जज्बा, वो बदला, तुम्हारी आंख में वो रसिया पना था, इसीलिए तुम्हें दावत आ रहा। ऑफिसर who said that I got an invite and the title of that invite was Dream Girls of India. I had made as a DGP a circular that no police officer shall be a judge in any beauty contest. No police officer shall ever be a witness to any beauty pageant or any fashion show, because it sends a wrong signal. You are a father figure wherever you are. और जो फादर अपनी बेटी के सौंदर्य का मूल्यांकन करता वो बाप होने का भी। The chapters with which you are supposed to educate, highlight, and tell about are these: AIDS awareness, diet, nutrition, healthcare, stress management, and the like. Women police personnel, they have to be conditioned, they have to be trained. Very often, every district of UP has a Mahila police station, and I dare say that many of the states have also got up and have taken this program. But again, those Mahila police officers have to be trained. If you're running a Mahila helpline, those officers and the operators will have to be trained. And the basic infrastructure of the software, because very often you get our lady colleagues get obnoxious phone calls, obnoxious emails, and they have to be protected more than an average citizen because they represent the strength of the law and the government. Mobile counseling center. There are certain rural areas, there are certain remote areas where we have to in fact extend by mobile counseling centers. The modalities you have to design yourself, but the basic training should be 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act, Domestic Violence Act, POSCO. Our Constitution gives the guarantee of equality, Article 14, 15 and 16. There are provisions of the IPC at professional police officers, you must all be knowing. Our favorite section is Section 294 of the IPC. And other such sections starting from eve-teasing right up to rape. There is another wonderful statute, Indecent Representation of Women's Act. Any pornographic material, any disorientation. There is a cinema hall in the state capital of Uttar Pradesh that is habitually screening pornographic films. Can any action be taken by the police? It can. Under this act, the Capital Cinema Hall of Lucknow has been closed down until date it is closed down because it was challan under the indecent representation of the Act. Please remember two sections, section 66A of the IT Act. Section 66A of the IT Act, which passing of obnoxious pornographic material, SMSs and SMS. Under what law can I take action if somebody were to send a lewd SMS, a lewd clip on my mobile? We'll go into pornography after this, after going into the law sections. The Dowry Prohibition Act, I must say that all of you look to be very happily married and none of you is about to be married. But when I meet the youngsters, I give them the option that you belong to a premier service. You have the option of marrying dignity and marrying dishonor. If you want to marry dishonor, please take down. The shortest cut to living with dishonor for the rest of your life is to take down. By indulging in an illegal act and by quoting dishonor. But you want to live with dignity and you want your wife to be your soulmate and your best friend, say no with the capital N to that. The Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. Yesterday my university complained as professional police officers that 200 SMSs were received by various faculties and students, boys and girls. Such and such massage parlor by international artists. It is a disguised sign of a fit case to be prosecuted. I have written and made a complaint to the police and showed enough the person who generated the SMS is behind bars. We should not take this lightly. If you are brazen enough to generate 100 SMS of a massage parlor and send it all over, it is my duty to send it and report to the police. It is not necessarily that the traditional kothas and the other things are no, but the precautions that need to be taken in this act is that again it has to be intelligence, a prior intelligence, and then the rehabilitation and the rescue officer will be part of the raiding team of the police, and the lady independent witnesses should be a part of your race. The Visakha case, it's a very landmark judgment in which every office has to have a committee, and the committee should be headed by a lady. Participant should be an NGO, and every complaint in respect of gender issues would be summarily tried, investigated, and exemplary punishment would be given. Also, the philosophy is the onus of proof shall be on the accused. The committee members are not honorable judges of the High Court that they should sit in judgment and examine voluminous emails. The very fact that the lady has said that she has been wrong, it is for the other party to explain that please come out clean. The Domestic Violence Act, again we have discussed, is a beautiful statute and people have to be counseled to get out the truth. More often than not, counseling is important. 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act, we had gone through this. The important amendments in the Indian Penal Code, Indian Evidence Act, and the Criminal Procedure Code and the POSCO Act. Please take pains to ensure we must go into the fact what is happening to our ladies. Yatra Nargisto Pujyante Ramante Tatra Devata. Gunther Grass said, empty eternity of the East. And Professor Paul Deussen said, lofty ideals and lowly conduct. The number of dowry deaths, the number of rapes, the number of figures of teasing would put any Indian's head to shame. Yatra Nargisto Pujyante Ramante Tatra Devata. Sarva Bhuta Yada Devi Swarga Mukti Pradayini. When it comes to Navratras, you say, yes, you are the mother, father, guru, or whatever, but when it comes to burning for dowry, molestation, rape, we are the gold medalists in the world. Rick Santorum, an American thinker and philosopher, says that pornography changes the brain chemistry irreversibly. And in my experience, I have examined teenagers, juveniles accused of rape, and they confess to the fact that before the commission of actual crime, they had been privy to seeing pornographic clips and pornographic dances. The incidence in China is very less because China has banned and blocked all the pornographic sites. Now the Juvenile Act is under a case of flux. Where is it in America? If you are old enough to commit a crime, you are old enough to take the punishment also. Compassion should not be only for juveniles, compassion should be for the victims also. Right? To that extent, whenever they come for opinion formation, please see to it. What a 12-year-old today knows, we did not know at the age of 25. And what a 16-year-old knows today, none of you would be known collectively. So if you are old enough to commit a crime, my view is, with all the compassion, you are old enough to take it. I mean, America also, 12 years old have been sentenced to death. 13 years old have been sentenced to death. No questions asked. America is more liberal than you and I are. Response of police personnel to increase human violence. The women, the way they dress up, invite teasing. In fact, if they are not teased, it is a psychological trauma for the women. It is, in fact, some kind of a bonus for police officers to indulge in some kind of light conversation with their junior police and the women folk who enter the police station. Who has given them the right? The cult of masculinity prevalent in the department makes the police officers use of stereotypes for violence. I will talk now because I have also to give you a word about the minorities and weaker sections. A committee of 3 DGs went, you did not require, and they said that yes, there is a perception, and even if there is a perception, that police has a bias towards the weaker section of the minorities, that leads to this right. Not that our record is very straight. Haryana, Hashimpur, and some other riots, it was alleged that perhaps the barrel was pointed only towards a minority. If there is a caste conflict, say between the scheduled caste and the Jatavs, the scheduled caste and the higher caste, the guns and the casualties, in fact, pick out only the weakest sections. You did not have to require the collective wisdom of 3 DGs. It is like saying, do I have 2 years or 4 years? Do I require a committee to tell me? I know for donkey that I have 2 years. And I also know that the police conduct towards the minorities needs improvement, and it has not been fair. Maharashtra has also come to the fact that in the last 10 years, the number of wrong arrests, fake encounters, the number of detentions illegal in respect of the minority community is unusually high. That is the alarm bell, and I feel the High Court has done service to the department by ordering an inquiry commission into all those fake arrests, illegal encounters. In any case, for every encounter, the Human Rights Commission enjoins that there will be a magistrate inquiry, there will be a CID investigation, there will be a wireless addressed to the National Human Rights Commission. To that extent, if anybody has the propensity or the predilection for a fake encounter, fake arrests, please don't allow it. The days of third degree are over. The days of brutality are over. Again, as in the case of gender issues, my treatment towards the minorities, my attitude towards the minorities, actions speak louder than words. My treatment or my attitudes towards the weaker section of society, if at my home I tell the reserve inspector, please do not send the orderlies from a particular community or a caste, the word will spread like wildfire that Sahab is not very favorably inclined towards this particular community, towards this particular caste. And this is a stupid mistake that we police officers make on a day-to-day basis, on a regular basis. Once you don a khadi, khadi is much higher in the spiritual content than the Geruva. You hear all caste, all feelings of community, all feelings of that. You belong to everyone and everyone belongs to you. but you still have a feeling that I am Thamur Vikram Singh, then I think that no training has done justice to you. You need to be trained all the more that you are just a Vikram. You belong to everyone and everyone belongs to you. And the day you tell your RI that I would not like to have an orderly or a member of this caste or community, you have done a disservice to yourself. You have done a disservice to yourself, to the service and to the cause of police. Rape is a victim precipitated. They ask for it. What could be more stupid and absurd than this? And there are so many people. We have Asaram Bapus, Tarun Tejwal, Justice Ganguly's. It was actually a conference. What kind of conference you were having in your hotel room at 11 at night with cocktails? There is a principle of law that is known as presumptive evidence. If you are there in your bedroom at 12 of night and liquor is passing and you have no business to be with the other sex, the presumption is that you were there for an immoral purpose. Domestic violence. Another Daroga ji said, a word of wisdom from the Daroga ji. When a wife went to complain about being bashed up, what is he? Unka pati. The pati ka matlab, he is your owner. And if the owner slaps once or twice, why do you grudge that? It is his right to slap you and chastise you once in a while. This is from the SO. And you can see the level of absurdity and mental depravity at this kind of function. Trivialization, decriminalization, non-intervention and advising the victim to seek civil remedies, acting as peacemakers when case has happened. Knowledge is the still global advantage. Be the best where you are. Invest in training. Your training. Train yourself every day. See for yourself. Are you loud? Are you aggressive? Are you aggressive to your junior colleagues? Daily analyze for 5 minutes. Are you aggressive to your spouse? Are you aggressive to your children? Are you applying yourself? Think yourself and analyze my personal conduct, my self-image. You are a leader. What you do becomes fashionable in your area. If you are wearing the shirt, trust me, 50% of your subordinates will buy a shirt because you are a leader. What you do becomes fashionable. If you start smoking a pipe, 50% of the people under you start smoking a pipe. So invest in soft tone, soft demeanor, learning, and the best practices anywhere in the country for which this is the appropriate platform. Please invest in learning. As a police officer, as I say, when I come back, khaki to Gerua, I dare say that police officer is a yogi. And what is enjoined in the Bhagavad Gita for yogis, that you should be constantly vigilant, constantly alert, constantly sensitive. That is applicable to you police officers more than the yogis. When the world sleeps, when the worldly people sleep, the yogi keeps awake with one eye open. And that is true for all you police officers, that even when you sleep, keep an eye open, be alert in changing laws, technology, systems, procedures, and your conduct. The negativity permeates you and you're not even aware that it has permeated you. It happened to me, it has happened to all of us. Then again the 5 minutes of self-introspection. Am I loud? Am I abrasive? Am I cruel? Am I unreasonable? And if, how can I set it right? And those 5 minutes to see. The biggest recipients of our negativity are those who we love the most. I will repeat, the biggest recipients of my negativity are those whom we love the most. Meaning thereby, my wife or my husband, our children, and our parents. I will request all of you to close your eyes for 1 minute and see in the last 5 years, go to the inner recess of your heart and see whom you have wronged, humiliated, insulted, and rendered injustice in the last 5 years. Think internally for 1 minute. Don't tell me. I can see from your faces that there is a wrenching in the heart. All of us have wrenchings in the heart. But do yourself the service that when you have the recess or in the evening, dial up and say sorry. I'm sorry that this should have done. I should not have done. And see that you unburden yourself and you will be a light person. Mark my words. I'm old enough to be a father. Somebody nice, somebody very saintly, divine told me, and I'm telling you. All of us have wrapped up unnecessary baggage in yourself and carry a load on our chest and our hearts and our conscience. And then we choose not even to go inside. And when we do go inside, we let what we have done to our people whom we love the most. Say sorry, and it will be a clean slate. Have a better beginning. May God bless your path. May you have a great course. Have a whale of a time, but go a better person from here. More compassionate and large. God bless all of you. Thank you very much. We still have 5 minutes. Any observations for me? Any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
It was a very thought-provoking talk, or speech, or whatever you might say. So it was very, very illuminating. But there are 1 or 2 things which keep bothering us, especially as far as gender and gender sensitization is concerned. In the recent past, we've had incidents of police acting as moral police force. It has happened in, I think, Agra also.
It has happened in Meerut.
Yes.
It has happened in Agra.
Yes, sir.
Lady inspectors going and bashing up lovely couples in the parks.
Yes, sir.
Going and raiding the pubs and saying that you are scantily dressed.
Sir.
Husband and wife sitting in a car, maybe having wine or something, checking them, you have no right to do this.
Sir.
Although drinking in public. But as you very rightly said, I'll do first complete the
Yes, sir. Sir, I just wanted to know your views on that, sir.
Anything that has a potential of creating a problem for the police. Sitting close to each other in the park per se is not a crime. But sitting in a car in an isolated place where the persons can be ambushed, robbed and molested and assaulted, that is the time for police to intervene. It is not moral policing at that point of time. And any lady inspectors, you put a specific question and I'll give you a specific answer. I'm accountable for the fact for the lady inspector did in Meerut. She bashed up the couples, made them do can't up, right up. And the media was after her, किसान इनको suspend कीजिए, dismiss कीजिए. हमने कहा मैंने डांट के matter ends. मैं departmental भी नहीं करूँ. Did she take money from any one of them? एक गलती थी कि media should not have taken the media. They are boys and girls from good families, and we do not encourage this kind of romancing. नज़ीरत, आप बहुत पुराने हो चुके हैं. पुराने नहीं हो चुके हैं. अंग्रेजों के बीच में पढ़ा लिखा हो. डेटिंग और ट्रेन डांसेस हमारे टाइम में होते थे और माँ बाप ने कहा कि जब तक हम जिंदा है यहाँ शरीफों की तरह आप रहेंगे. कड़वा तेल, मस्टर्ड ऑयल और लाइफ बॉय साबुन के अलावा कोई कॉस्मेटिक्स नहीं लाते था. और बाल मुड़वा दिया था माता जी ने एक बार जब तक तुम्हारी आंखों में मुझे बेहयाई दिखाई पड़ रही. और जब कोई पूछे बाल क्यों मुड़वाया है, आज तक उसने बाल मुड़वा कि कोई पूछे क्यों बाल मुड़वाया कि तुमने माँ की तेल ही करके आया. At the same time, it is not aggression. Those boys and girls who can be on the wrong path. You've heard of Facebook and WhatsApp application, people making MSS, we should understand, and then selling it off in the Ghaffar market here in the Palka Bazaar for 1,000 rupees. There is economics to this kind of dating. Are we aware that these boys, there is a certain crime syndicate that entices girls from good families, and after that enticing they make MSS and sell them off. There is economics added to it. And to that extent, if a police officer is over-enthusiastic, I would say over-enthusiastic, taking the media, bashing them upon it, that's not right. I would not say. I think that has a potential of snowballing into a major crime, scandal, and a major headline, and bringing police to district. I think the police have a duty to intervene in crime. But again, as you say, those of you who are golfers, when you hold a golf club, it should be picked up and handled and gripped in a manner. It should not be so tight like a pigeon. It should not be so tight that the pigeon dies, and it should not be so loose that the pigeon flies out. Moral policing should best be entrusted to the leaders of the force rather than to our junior police. I would certainly not recommend moral police, but at the same time, any incident, episode, a rain dance, a rave party that has a potential for a major scandal, a major calamity, or major crime.
I was working as ACP of Chanakyapuri long time back. There is a Buddha Jayanti garden there.
We all walked there, and I know what happens after dark there.
Yes, sir. So वहाँ पे सर स्कूल की लड़कियाँ अक्सर चला करती थी सर, एंड टोटली मिसमैच्ड उनका बॉयफ्रेंड जो होता था, टोटली यू नो दे आर फ्रॉम गुड स्कूल्स, आर्मी पब्लिक स्कूल एंड ऑल दैट, और ये सब लड़के इधर उधर के ऐसे रफियंस और वो घूमते थे. तो वी यूज्ड टू स्टॉप एंड ये वो थोड़ा देर तो चलता रहा और ये करता रहा. समटाइम्स वी यूज्ड टू हैंड ओवर टू द पेरेंट्स एंड ऑल, क्योंकि सर वहाँ रेप भी होता है करता था.
रेप होता है
सर,
सही है.
लेकिन then we were I was in for a shock. I was totally surrounded by a group of NGO minded or whatever civil society और उस तरह के जो लोग हैं, जैसे कि नहीं, they have their independence. आप क्यों उनको ये कर रहे हैं, आप क्यों मना कर रहे हैं? Parents said कि नहीं ठीक है, they have my क्यों, why did you call me? Really this that पीछा छुड़ाना मुश्किल हो गया था सर. लोगों ने कहा कि क्या सर आप मुसीबत ले रहे हो, आप छोड़ो.
देखिए आपने जो किया, आई टोटली एग्री विद यू. देखिए अभी तो पेरेंट्स कह रहे हैं कि हमने अपने बच्चों को आज़ादी दी, क्योंकि उनके पेरेंट्स भी उसी धाम के पति हैं, क्योंकि उनका अपना एजेंडा है. अगर हमारे बच्चे अगर साथी के घर में सुंदरकांड पढ़ेंगे तो हम प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिस कब करेंगे? जब बच्चे बाहर रहेंगे, वो दूसरी लाइन में होंगे, तभी तो हम भी अपने एजेंडा में जाएंगे. अब हुआ क्या इसमें, हमारे एक दोस्त वो आगे एक दिन मेरे सामने बोल रहे सत्या मेरे साथ बेटी की बर्थडे हमने कहा भाई केक वगैरह बनाओ खिला, सब मजाक मत करो. बेटी ने बड़ा जलील किया, उसने अपनी बर्थडे पार्टी के खाने में बाल लगवाया है. तो मैंने जाके होटल मालिक से कहा कि बाल क्यों लगवाया? तो गद्दी पुट्ठे ने पार्टी का पैसा दिया, मैंने दिया तुम्हें. और जब मैं अपने दोस्त से कहता था कि तुम वो मत खाओ जो नहीं खाना चाहिए, वो मत करो जो नहीं करना चाहिए, वहाँ मत जाओ जहाँ नहीं जाना चाहिए, तो आपके पेरेंट्स ने जो जवाब आपको दिया था, नहीं नहीं ये तो हमारा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार, हम कानून में क्या गलत कर रहे हैं. देखिए कानून की डायमीटर अलग है, मोरालिटी की डायमीटर अलग है. जो देयर इज वन थिंग दैट इज एथिकल, वन थिंग दैट इज लीगल. अ थिंग मे be legal but may not be very ethical, and it is better to err on the ethical side. I would not say moral, but on the ethical side, tell them, please be forewarned, your daughters are treading a very dangerous path. And sooner than later, sooner than later you will hear of incidents of scandalous proportions. Mismatch, as you said, there are crime syndicates that giving money to boys to entice girls from good families. And entice for what? To get married. To sell them in the market, to make MMSs and pornographic films, to blackmail them into giving good dowries. Please understand that our ladies and the girl child is something like they are treated by these crime syndicates as jersey cows giving 50 liters of milk every day. They look upon them as a commodity. Very unfortunate, but the ground reality is a perfectly proof. Please understand that these crime syndicates entice them for a purpose, ensnare them for a purpose. And to that extent, if you intervene, you have done your job. My compliments to you.
सर ये जो मध्य प्रदेश वाला जो इंसिडेंट हुआ था, I don't know the facts of the case. टोटली कैसे किया?
I'll tell you what
Don't you think sir कि उसमें इंक्वायरी होनी चाहिए थी before condemning him?
इंक्वायरी होनी चाहिए और बिना इंक्वायरी के जजमेंट नहीं आना चाहिए. लेकिन इंक्वायरी के कहने के पहली चीज मैं आपको बता दूं कि अगर जज साहब ने उनको अपने घर पे बुलाया कैसे?
वो तो कह रहे कि बुलाया नहीं, आज उसका सर स्टेटमेंट है.
वो तो कहेंगे ही कि मैंने नहीं बुलाया, कोई एफिडेविट कोई थोड़ी देता है मैंने बुलाया नहीं बुलाया. द वेरी फैक्ट कि आपके ऊपर ये एलिगेशन लगा है, या आपके ऊपर कभी ऐसा एलिगेशन लगा है? आपके ऊपर लगा है, और अगर जिसके ऊपर लगा वो सोचे जरूर मैंने कोई ऐसा संदेश अपनी जिंदगी में दिया होगा कि आप समझे होंगे कि मैं इस तरीके का आदमी हूँ. आप देखिए उस आदमी को जब आप उड़ेदेंगे तो प्याज की परत दर परत उसकी हरकतें और कमीनी हरकतें सामने. एक लेडी जज जिसकी क्लास 12 की बच्ची है, वो कोई नहीं है. 10 बार मरने के बाद एक ऐसा एलिगेशन लगता है, आप सब लोग सीजन प्रोफेशनल पुलिस ऑफिसर, और अगर ये एलिगेशन लगाया है 10%, 100% नहीं, 60% कहीं नहीं गया। आपको देखिए अपने एक्सपीरियंस से, कोई करता है, कोई कहता है रेप तक में 10 बार मरने के बाद क्या तो हम कहते हैं साहब उसमें तो टाइम लगे, व्हाई इज द डिले इन द एफआईआर? प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड द ट्रॉमा दैट द विक्टिम हैज टू फेस। इंक्वायरी होनी चाहिए।
There are two questions. One is about the moral policing and the second is about the role as a peacemaker and a mediator. You have rightly said that whatever I do, my subordinates are going to follow it. Now, at what level do I stop to let my subordinates not get into this job? Because if I become a moral policeman, then every constable will become a moral policeman tomorrow. Rightly or wrongly, he will start doing it. Same is with the peacemaking and mediation. If I start mediating and not be very strict with the law, tomorrow my SHOs will start it and next day my chowkidars will start it.
Mediation only in respect of domestic violence.
Even in domestic violence, sir, my decision, my judgment to start mediating, to let my subordinates mediate.
The mediation cell is under the direct charge of the leader of the force. If it's a police commissioner, it will be done only at the level of the police commissioner and nobody else is.
No, sir, it is the question, not the level of the police. It is a concept of encouraging mediation and encouraging moral policing. It is not if my SHOs and my beat constables know that there is a legal cell, he gets information, he is going to put more people towards the mediation cell, more people towards the peace process rather than taking legal action.
The mediation cell has been designed to work under the leader of the force and not at the Thana level or even at the ACP or Municipal level.
The first reported matters at the police station level.
He can refer the matter, but he will not be a mediator. He will not even be the first responder. The first responder will be the mediation cell under the supervision. These are sensitive issues. They cannot be delegated to constable, head constables, and inspectors. They will have to be delegated to people who are trained, people who are under the direct supervision of the leader, and they take up the rarest of the rare case where it is possible, in fact, to turn the clock backwards. Because if you were to indulge, let me tell you, एक दफा जब आपने पेंडोरा's box खोला, फिर आप कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे, दिन भर आप mediation नहीं करते। इसलिए no mediation, law will take its own course. पहला, नंबर 2, अगर कोई borderline cases है, मीडिएशन सेल भी देखेगा, एसओ नहीं देखेगा, एसीपी नहीं देखेगा, डीसीपी, आई डेयर से स्पेशल पुलिस कमिश्नर नहीं देखेगा। ओनली द सेल duly empowered with adequate presence of ladies and engineers. Only that.
The problem is that the number of cases which are referred from the lower level to these cells. Because wherever there is a case where they should be acting and there is some scope of mediation, then the lower subordinates are less coming forward to take legal action and more sending these cases to the mediation cells.
I mean, they will come, there is no doubt about that. And then the mediation cell is a no-nonsense approach. Let me tell you, their delivery and in fact, the resolution of the problem is also fantastic. But if I can certainly make out what is a frivolous case and what is a meaningful case, that is what experience is all about. And if I am able to mediate in the first 60 minutes, I will know the fair chances of an actual mediation. There are those cases which, like Mahabharat, will fail all cases of mediation. I will know that. And then the case will be registered and will take its due course. But this is a judgment that the officer, the leader has to take.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Before I follow it, what you have request Mr. Vatsa and give the break and give I forget of the list.
Thank you very much. You have come like Santa Claus, giving me so many gifts almost. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So I thank Singh Saab once again, also Surat Saab, who has taken trouble to come over here. Thank you very much.
I will just say that
A small announcement for everyone. We would assemble downstairs for a photograph session, sir. And we'll be assembling in the next 15 minutes there. So in the meanwhile, I'll serve tea and snacks over here as per the recommendations.
We'll serve tea and snacks here. and go down.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
I'm Ravi, the district commandant.
Where is Mr. Karu? You are.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the team. And assure you, none of us even forget about sleep. It was so energetic. Very nice.
मिलते हैं यूनिवर्सिटी में आइए बिल्कुल लेटर एक्सप्रेस कलाल में बैच ओके अमरोहा Mark Singh, 58 batsmen.
The bus.
जैसे आपका SMS का WhatsApp का SMS का SMS तो निकल जाता है
किसी मोबाइल में नहीं है
मोबाइल
आप क्यों ढूंढ रहे हैं?
नहीं है
वो कह तो तो कहते हैं कि फेसबुक पे जो बात लिखा गया वो परमानेंट है
ठीक है व्हाट्सएप पे ठीक होगा
तो SMS क्या है
सर्वर
ऐसा है कि अब कितने साल पहले से ऐसा कुछ नहीं मेमोरी कितनी है तो मेमोरी छोटा करके गवर्नमेंट को
लेते हैं किसी का 6 महीने आपका डिटेल आता है उससे पुराना 6 महीने साल उससे पुराना खत्म हो गया हम लोग को टेलीफोन कंपनी कहाँ देती है
नहीं बताएंगे
लॉजिकल टाइम सेट बट नॉट
टेक्निकल रास्ते में
बहुत बड़ी अकेडमी है वहाँ पर नहीं बनी है
मॉडर्न सॉर्ट ऑफ एकेडमी
एयरपोर्ट रोड पे
एयरपोर्ट स्टेशन के पास